Welcome to Keep Hustling, where we are going past the why to get to the how. I'm your host, the always hustling Aaron Gordon, aka NY Risk Advisor, aka Mr. Keep Hustling. In this podcast, we will be diving deep into the professional and personal successes of our guests to find out how they hustled through the most difficult times in their life and their development to achieve the success they've gotten to today. So buckle up for what hopes to be an amazing ride. Let's get to it. You know, for all those haters out there that tell me that I'm a New York elitist, I'm the NY Risk, I don't like people from Jersey, Tiffany from Jersey, currently on the Keep Hustling podcast. Listen, obviously it would be better if she was from New York, but like we're willing to settle for Jersey.
I still love you.
So
It's
it is what it
okay.
is.
It's okay. No hard feelings.
How's that?
I love
How's
it.
that for an intro? You know, we're still going to congestion price you when you come to Manhattan. It's fine. I have to say, I was pumped to have you on because I do want to get into what you're doing now, but I have to. I feel like I have to ask you about your career as a flight attendant, because I don't think that I've ever spoken to someone, certainly not on this show, that was a flight attendant or that is a flight attendant, and I know that you were one. And the reason why I want to ask about that is I think that nobody actually understands what a flight attendant is, or like what flight attendants do. And I say that because I imagine that traveling the world is great, but I also imagine that from a hustle perspective, which is what this is all about, it's like you're getting up at times you don't want to. You gotta smile. It's the ultimate hospitality business. People feel like they're stuck on a plane. I'm not even talking about the people that overdrink or act like nuts or things like that, but it's like, what in you made you want to do that? And I'm going to ask you not to say because I wanted to see the world. What I mean to say is like, I really believe that being a flight attendant is the ultimate hospitality business, because the person can't walk away.
Very true.
You know what I'm saying?
Very true.
When they're on the flight. And you got to deal with a lot of different types of problems in a very confined space with a lot of different types of people. So I like, how did that start? And then we'll get to what you're in currently.
Okay. So now you're taking me back. So I originally am from a small town, all right, in Kentucky. And so when I was growing up as a young girl, I always wanted to move to a big city, right? So here I am from Kentucky, wanted to get out of Kentucky to live in a bigger city. A friend of mine, I was in college. A friend of mine had told me about this open call interview to be a flight attendant, right? I just graduated from college, and I didn't know what I was going to do. I was originally going to get into television, but that's something separate. So she told me about this open call interview, and she said, "You know what? I'm going. You should go." And I never thought about being a flight attendant before. Really, honestly, I did not. But it did put me in the path of being able to leave Kentucky, right? To possibly go live in a bigger city. So I was kind of on the fence about it. I remember the open interview being around 6:00. And I waited until the last minute. I think it was probably about 5:30, 5:45 before I even decided to go. So I went on a whim. I really did. At the time, the guy that I was dating, he was like, "What do you have to lose? Like, just go check it out, just see what happens." So I went, and immediately when I got there, I was amongst the other women, other people trying to get the position, and they hired me. They hired me on the spot, which was actually crazy. And so I think I graduated college. Let's see, I graduated college on the 19th of May, and I had to start training like 2 weeks after that in Houston. And consequently, my girlfriend who had told me about the position, she had every intention on going, but she ended up getting a flat tire. So she never made it, which is crazy. So to this day, I think it was funny. I was talking to someone about this a couple of months ago, honestly. And we were talking about how we, got into the job, because there's lots of people that will say, all my life, I've wanted to be a flight attendant. I've always wanted to travel. That was not my story. I just wanted to get out of Kentucky. So after talking to the person, another colleague, I was telling them about the story. I was like, you know what? I never did call because over time, you know how you lose track. You don't stay in touch with people. Over time, me and my friend, we just lost track. We just stopped talking. So I was like, you know what? I should really reach out to her and thank her for telling me about this. This was something that actually changed the trajectory of my life. And I actually did that. We reached out, we connected via Facebook, which was pretty cool. So that's my story. It wasn't that I love people, I love to travel. It was, I wanted to get out of Kentucky and I wanted to move to a larger city.
I think there is something deep there because people very often don't take the leap. And when we talk about keep hustling, a lot of times people, and I've learned this from our guests, and we're over 70 episodes in at this point. It's like the most successful people are the people who say, I'm willing to go outside of my comfort zone. I don't have it
Hmm.
figured out 100%, right? Obviously, if you were petrified of flying or hated people, flight attendant, not great career. But it's like, this is something that kind of interests me. I don't have it all figured out. I know that there's a decent chance that this could be the first step
Right.
in me getting out of Kentucky. And if that's where I'm trying to go and I want to move to a bigger city, I don't know what a year from now is going to be, or 5 years, or 10 years, or 15. But I'm just going to take that first step, that first leak in my hustle, and understand that it will probably be redefined. Now, the interesting part is, how long did you work as a flight attendant?
I am currently employed as a flight attendant, to be honest with you. I decided, so I've been in the airline industry for about 26 years now. But now I've been able to shift it. So it's not
So,
my full-time job anymore. It's something that I do part-time, which is pretty cool.
how long was it your primary source of income and your full time job?
Probably for about almost 15 years, maybe anywhere between the 10 to 12 mark, actually, before I kind of transitioned.
So, isn't that amazing? How like something on a whim that you weren't sure about, just on the I want to take the first step, became a career for 10 to 12 years full time and is still part time after that. And I think that that's just amazing because so many people pigeonhole themselves and limit themselves in a box of the only things that they think they can do to get their career started and to
Yeah.
take that first step to where they want to go. And very often it's the things that we haven't thought about that kind of just come in from somewhat left field that we can make a career out of. But then, how do we say, being a flight attendant
Ah,
when a global pandemic strikes, not
well,
exactly the
yeah.
greatest gig.
So, my story, my journey to where I am now really went through two different major events in my lifetime. The first event was actually September 11th, believe it or not. That was something that was major that affected me and my decision on, what I wanted to do as a career. When September 11th happened, I was like, you know what? I'm not getting back on the airplane. Like, this is not for me. So the company allowed us the opportunity to take company leaves for an extended period of time. So I took probably about 2.5 years off. And during that time, during that time, it's funny,
Really?
I ended up doing outside sales, believe it or not, for a company by the name of Pitney Bowes, selling postage meters, which is hilarious. I chose that
Sure.
because I always knew I never wanted to be behind a desk all day, regular 9 to 5. And this allowed me the opportunity to still get out and speak with people. So when I got hired by this company, they took it seriously. I was in full blown training in Atlanta. Like, it was like all in. We were in like 6 weeks of training. And then once I got out, we had to do these events that we needed to go to continue our training. So the first event that I got involved in that I had to go to was a sales event at this huge arena where you had people from all over the world, different industries, that were at the best of their game for sales. Like, they were like top notch. So we were there to actually be submerged and learn how to master our craft. So I'm sitting there and I'm there that day and I'm like, okay, this is cool. And I had one guy, I was listening to everyone, and then this one guy came on the stage and I was just 100% focused on everything that he said. This guy was a multimillionaire. He was a real estate investor. He was talking about how you could purchase property, or how he purchased property with no money down. So I was like, wait a minute now, no money down? Like, what are you talking about, no money down? So immediately I gravitated to his story. And so what he said is listen, hey, I'm doing a outside seminar at the Sheraton. If you're interested, come by and check it out, right? So I was like, okay, I'm going to listen to what he has to say because I'm interested right now. You're talking about buying properties with no money. I'm there. So I went to the Sheraton and I grabbed my then now husband, then boyfriend, made him come with me. We're sitting at the Sheraton and I got my notebook and I'm ready to write everything down because I was ready to learn. I wasn't going back to flying. This is my new thing, right? And he's talking about, how to find sellers, how you can buy properties with zero money down. So I'm writing everything down. He was very vague and very general. So by the time we made it to like day 2, the real important meaty part of the information he just wouldn't disclose without paying, right? He was like, okay, if you want to learn this, I've taken you up to this point. Anything else you want to learn, you're going to have to pay for it. So when he said, okay, my training is going to cost about $2,500, at the time he could have said $1,000,000 because I didn't have $2,500, right? So what I said at that point was, you know what? I'm going to take everything that he taught, everything that I've learned, and I'm going to apply it, and I'm just going to see what happens. So the very next day, I'm on the phone. I'm dating myself. I'm pulling out the white pages. I'm on the phone. I'm looking for sell by owners. I'm calling, calling, calling. I called about 25, almost 30 people. By the time I got to like my 31st person, the seller didn't hang up on me. Everybody else did. This one didn't. So I asked him, I said, are you interested in selling your property? And he said, sure, come by and check it out. I was like, okay. I didn't know what else to say. I was surprised. Everyone else had hung up on me. So now I'm like, okay, now what do I do? Right. So the very next day I went by there. He had a single family house with 2 units in the back that he was renting out. So he had a total of 3 units that he wanted to sell. He showed me around the house. He's showing me all the different rooms. I go in the basement, termite damage. He's pointing all that out. I go to the back. I see the 2 units. I speak to the tenants. We're talking. I'm observing everything. After we're done, he's like, okay, so I'm selling this property for $450,000. I said, well, sir, I'm sorry. I apologize, but I don't have $450,000. He said, okay, well, what were you planning on doing with this property? And I said, well, I'm a flight attendant and I plan on renting these units out to other flight attendants and turning it into what we call a crash pad. So he's like, oh, okay. He said, well, you know what? I have a best friend and he's a mortgage guy and he wants to become an investor and he's thinking about purchasing this property. Why don't you give him a call? So I said, okay, I'll give him a call. So I gave him a call. The next day we sit down, we have coffee, we're talking. And he's like, you know what, Tiffany, I spoke with so and so. He's like, and I know you're interested in buying this property. I want us to partner together on this property. He said, I know that you don't have the funds to do so, but that's okay because I'm the money man. You don't have to have the funds. I just need you to bring your resources to the table. And what I need you to do is I need you to keep that property occupied with flight attendants and pilots. And I also need you to manage it. Can you do that? I'm like, sure, all day. He was like, all right, well, your name's going to be on the deed. Don't worry about the money part. Let's do the deal. Let's make it happen. And guess what? If you do well and everything goes good, then we'll buy the additional 6 units next door and we'll do it again. So that way we'll have a total of 9 units. I'm sorry, 9 units. So I was like, okay, let's do it. Right. But at the time I was so green. I didn't know anything about real estate. So I was like, I was jumping into something that I had no idea. I knew in my gut that this is something that I wanted to do, but I had no background. I didn't have anyone to talk to in the circle that knew anything about real estate. But I went ahead and I decided to sign off on the contract, but I had 30 days to rescind. So I move into the house and I'm kind of figuring out how I'm going to do this. And at the time, the company had called me back. They wanted me to come back to flying and I wanted to move to a different base to be closer to my then boyfriend. So I'm like, how can I accomplish doing this deal and get these units occupied and live somewhere else, potentially out of state? How can I make that happen? So after day 15, I'm getting antsy now because I'm like, okay, this is the real deal. And I don't know what I'm doing here. And I'm about to move. So how can I make this happen? So I ended up calling everybody that I knew. I'm calling my cousins, my aunts, my uncles, my man, my girlfriends, asking them like, what do you guys think I should do? Should I back out? Like, I really want to do this, but I'm afraid. I don't know why this guy hooked me up with somebody else to get this property. Like, what's going on? Are they trying to run some kind of scheme? Like, I didn't know. And so I called and I asked everybody because I was trying to get advice. And everyone told me that I contacted, that I was crazy and that I needed to back out of the deal. And I had one friend, one girlfriend at the time that was like, she was from the area. She's like, Tiffany, please, I beg you, please don't back out of the deal. This is a great opportunity. And I was like, I know, but I just, I don't know. I don't think I can make this happen. And really what it was fear, right? It was the fear of the unknown. So consequently, what ended up happening is about a week later, I moved out and I backed out of the deal. And I proceeded to move back where my then boyfriend, now husband, lived. And I was like, okay, I guess I'm not going to do this. This real estate thing isn't. I need to learn some things. I'm not ready, and I don't. I need to learn some things. So I moved back, and probably 3 years later, my girlfriend calls me. She's like, Tiffany, what was that property that you were going to buy? Where was that located? Wasn't that located in so and so area? And I was like, yeah, it was. And she was like, is it by this? Yeah, this major. Yeah, yeah, it was by there. She was like, girl, you should have bought that property. They regentified the whole area. Investors, developers came in and they bought out all the property from all the sellers, the homeowners, and those that had multi units were making over $1 million. I was like, "Are you kidding me? You mean to tell me I could have
She,
been a multi-millionaire right now?" And she was like, "Yes, you could have. There's nothing but high rises in the neighborhood now." So from that point, I decided that I was going to get my real estate license and that I was going to focus on real estate because I was this close to changing my life at that point in time. And so that's what I ended up doing. I ended up going back to the airline. I ended up getting my real estate license. And then I proceeded to become an agent. I ended up working with a broker, an REO broker that focused on bank foreclosures. So I was finding discounted distressed properties for investors for a stint. Did that. And then guess what happened? COVID, next
COVID.
major crisis in my life. So here I am. I'm flying, right? I'm back to flying. I'm doing. I'm well at the time.
Not anymore.
Right? Exactly. Exactly.
COVID.
Yeah. No. You're
Yeah,
right.
I'm just joking. I'm just joking. Yeah,
I was flying.
exactly. You were flying. It's funny. I said I live in Queens, New York, as I mentioned before. Not to interrupt
Mm,
you, but I live directly between LaGuardia and JFK. And the funny thing is, my wife and I. It's funny now, but wasn't funny then. I knew it was serious when there were no planes flying over our house at night. It went from like every 2 minutes you hear excuse me, people come to visit and they say, "How do your kids sleep at night?
yeah.
How do you stand outside?" I say we don't even notice. But when there's that white noise in the back that you're always used to, and then you hear that there's something going
Yeah.
on in the world, and then it
That's
disappears,
okay.
that's
No.
freaky. But anyway, continue. Sorry, you're Jersey, so I had to throw in some
You
Queens,
got to
New
put it
York.
out there.
Every
No,
once in a
I
while, I just
get it.
gotta
I get
poke
it.
it. So
Represent.
you know,
So,
but
COVID happens.
exactly.
And I'm like, okay, I'm not about to get back on the airplane right now. My daughter, she has asthma. I'm not bringing nothing home. I mean, I would see the ticker top or the ticker going every day where so many thousands of people had caught it and was dying. And I'm like, oh no, you're not going to have me in this encapsulated tube by myself. So, but right before COVID had happened, business was good. Oh my God. As an REO agent, business was good. I literally didn't have to look for clients. They came to me. I was writing up offers. I was closing on multiple deals, 3, 4 deals a month. It was beautiful. So then COVID happened, and now they done issued out this moratorium. And at the same time, now they're talking about laying people off from the airlines. So now I'm faced with the major crisis of A, my career job now in jeopardy, right? And then B, my backup second career as an agent now in jeopardy, right? So I had to think, like, what the heck am I gonna do? Like, this is crazy. How you gonna need a backup for your backup plan? It's absolutely nuts. So here I am yet again, faced with another major crisis, trying to figure out how am I going to think outside of the box and figure out what I'm going to do next. So the day I figured this out, I got a phone call from a client that was an investor, and he's like, Tiffany, I need to find some properties. I need to make some money. Do you have anything? And I'm like, well, the listings out of my office have kind of slowed down because of the moratorium. Banks can't foreclose or evict, so I'm not getting many properties coming through. I said, but I'll get back to you. So me being the person that I am, I'm like, okay, I need to find this guy some properties. So what I ended up doing is I ended up getting online, going straight to Craigslist, looking up properties for sale on Craigslist, because I'm like, okay, if I have an investor, he's looking to buy, he wants something that's off market, he doesn't want something that's listed. Let me check Craigslist and see what's out there. So I get on Craigslist and I'm canvassing through looking for properties, multifamily properties that's for sale. I come across this one listing, this one seller that said they had a multifamily property. I'm looking at it and I'm like, wow, this could be a good deal for my client. So I give him a call. So I call him and I'm like, yeah, I said, you still have this property? Is it still available? And he's like, yes. He said, no, I still need to sell it. And I'm like, well, great. I have a investor client that might be interested in purchasing it. And he's like, okay. He was like, well, listen, I'm a wholesaler, right? And at the time, I never knew what wholesaling meant. I'm like, do you buy it in bulk? Like, I didn't know what that actually entailed. So as I got to talk to him, I found out that he actually wasn't the original owner of the property, but he currently had the property under contract. And he needed to sell that property in 21 days because he was running out of time or the deal was going to become null and void for him, right? So I said, all right, send me the information over and send me some pictures. And then what I'll do is I'll get it to my client. He's like, okay, fine. He said, well, what's your fee? And I was like, shit, I didn't think about a fee. Like, what do you mean? He was like,
Fee.
well, how much are you charging? How much? And Aaron, I was like, I don't know. So I came back to him. I was like, oh, 2%, 2%. He was like, all right, well, put it on top of the purchase price. That way I can compensate you out of my assignment. I'm like, okay, I'll do that. So I sent the property over with the 2% fee on top of the purchase price to my investor client. And I told him, I said, listen, my fee's included in this price. I found someone, a wholesaler that's trying to sell his property. Here's the information. Let me know if you're interested and we'll go from there. And so he was like, Tip, fine. Let me run the numbers. Let me check it out. So probably within 24 hours, he gets back to me. He was like, I want it. Let's get it under contract. So I reached out to the wholesaler and I'm like, okay, I have a buyer for you. He was like, great, let's sign this joint venture agreement. I'm gonna send you over the assignment first. Fill out the joint venture between you and I, so you'll be compensated. And then I'll send you over the assignment contract, and you can have your buyer sign off on it. And then we can go ahead and get this deal closed. And I'm like, perfect. So I did that. We signed that joint venture agreement. It said, what I was going to be compensated. Me being smart and extra, I was like, and I also need you to put that amount on the assignment contract. So the title knows, the attorney knows how much I'm going to be compensated. So we did that. And then my seller closed on it in 2 weeks. And I made my first $7,000 just like that. And the rest is history.
And the rest is history. I hope that your story inspires a lot of people to do two
Yeah.
things. First of all, to keep hustling, obviously. But I think that what's remarkable is, as I said before, taking the leap on getting things started, but also a lot of people would have taken exactly the opposite out of your missed opportunity story. Meaning a lot of people would have said, oh, that was then. I should have done it. Everybody says that. I should
Right.
have done it. I could have been a millionaire. And the next step that most people take is, I'm not,
Right.
I missed it, and I'm going to go that way. But you said, I missed it. But I feel like that this is a sign for me that I missed it, but there'll be more opportunities. I'm going to go chase the next opportunity. I think that that's, if we think about what Keep Hustling really is about, it's not just, it's saying that the
Mm.
real estate rebel was always supposed to be born and you didn't let it deter you. And I think that that's, to me, is the incredible part and the inspirational part is
Yeah.
so many people get deterred so easily. And you shouldn't be deterred so easily. And we shouldn't be deterred so easily. What we should say is if we look at everything as an opportunity and everything as the ability to pivot the hustle or to hustle differently or to hustle again or to say, I missed that one, but there will be another one, or why did I miss that one? And if I miss the next one, am I going to be okay with that? But I'm still going to keep going. And I think that that's something really special. So I really appreciate you
Yeah.
being so open and honest about it, and especially about the initial failure, quote unquote, or the initial miss, because I said this, I think, in the first episode, and that is that everybody, we all see the success of those around us, and we don't realize that along the way, I believe, every single truly successful person has a basement filled with failure stories. And what I love about your story is that you took that what many people would look at as a failure or as a missed opportunity,
Huge.
huge missed opportunity at the time,
Huge.
right? I
Oh
mean,
my God.
and and flip that back and flip that back to your tremendous success today. So really, thank you for being here. I encourage everyone, as I do, follow Tiffany, the real estate rebel, the NY Risk Advisor, and the real estate rebel, together on the Keep Hustling podcast. Learn from her story and figure out where your potential opportunities are, even in the things that you felt like
Absolutely.
you missed out on in the past.
Absolutely.
So I mean, it's incredible,
It's funny,
incredible, and I
Aaron,
wish you a
because
lot of success going
what I
forward.
learned too throughout the years, because I've been in this real estate game for like 20 years now, and you have to pivot, and it's okay. You know, you learn from those experiences, and you got to maybe tweak it a little bit. I could have, even when I was selling real estate, I could have been like, you know what, the moratorium, it sucks. I don't want to do real estate. I pivoted. I had to find a different way. And I think that, people see that as failure. Some people see that, oh, you're quitting. And it was like, no, I'm not quitting. And no, I'm not failing. I'm just tweaking it a little bit. And, I got, honestly, I must be honest in saying that when I pivoted and I started working with investors, that's when the real estate education began for me, right? Because I feel that if you want to do something, you have to submerge yourself, be submerged, and surround yourself with people that are actually doing what you want to do or actually are who you want to become. And for me, yeah, so for me, when I was
100%.
able to actually do that, now I'm in the trenches, I'm doing deals, I'm speaking with investors daily, I'm dealing with wholesalers. So now I'm really getting the insight on how to invest, right? I know how to find discounted properties, and then I managed to transition that to a place where now I can now buy my own real estate properties. So, it's all about the journey.
100%. It's all about the journey. Well, keep hustling, keep going. Tiffany, we ask all of our guests to leave us with their favorite motivational or inspirational quote
Woo!
and what it means to them. So
Okay.
I would say again, everyone should follow you. And with that, I'll turn over the floor and say thank you again for joining us and
I would
take
say
us home.
what sticks to mind more than anything right now is carpe diem. Seize the moment. Seize the moment. You only get one lifetime, one spin around this planet. And the best thing advice that I can give anyone is to seize the moment. Don't allow fear to detour you. Don't allow negative naysayers to detour you. Live your life. You can be anything in this world that you want to be. And it's all about just executing.
Absolutely love that.
Seize the day.
Seize the day. Keep hustling. Thank you again,
Thank you so much, Aaron.
Tiffany,
I
for being here.
appreciate you. Thank you. Mwah.
This has been another episode of Keep Hustling. Remember, do well by doing good. And of course, and always, keep hustling. All right, hustlers, that brings us to the end of another fantastic episode. Thank you for listening. The listeners are the most important part of this show. If you like what you heard, please leave us a review wherever you listen to your favorite podcasts. Your feedback means the world to us and helps us reach more listeners. Plus, be sure to subscribe to our podcast so you never miss an episode. We have some amazing guests and topics lined up for you, and we don't want you to miss out. And finally, if you have any suggestions, comments, or even just want to say hello, please feel free to reach out to us on all social media platforms. We are Keep Hustling Pod on Instagram, X, Facebook, and LinkedIn. We would love to hear from you to continue the conversation. Thanks again for tuning in and supporting our podcast. We truly appreciate each and every one of you. Until next time, stay curious, stay hungry, and keep hustling.